Testing. 1, 2.
Check.
Testing.
Mike, check. Tim, John, test. Test. Speaker sound.
Test.
Are we on?
Testosterone.
Is this thing running?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am talking about marriage with my hubby.
Is this still a test?
No, this is the real
This
thing.
is actually happening. Okay.
So, I asked some people if they had any questions about marriage on my Facebook page, and we got a couple questions, or several questions. So we're just going to answer and talk about a few things of those today. And we are not experts at marriage. We've only been married for 3 years.
3 long years. This is gonna be fun.
But we do have a really happy marriage. So we wanted to maybe encourage some others that are out there, if you are struggling with marriage, just kind of how we do things. And so, yeah, let's get started.
Also, let's just say this, that we definitely are not experts, and we're not perfect. There would be no way that our marriage could be perfect, because we aren't. And so I don't think that anyone should. I guess if you're an older group or older couple, you might be able to look back on this and say that this may have been how it was when we first got started, and maybe things have changed, and we can certainly have a lot to learn from a lot of other generations and other couples too. So feel free to chime in with input of your own on things, because I think we can grow as much as anybody. But I do know that there's nothing else I would rather have in this world than my marriage. It's one of the most important things to me. So I think if we look at things through that lens, it's a pretty special thing if it's done the way that is written.
All right, so if you're not already in tears, let's get started.
Cut the camera. Cut it.
So we're going to answer just a couple of questions, or a few questions in this video. If you like this video, make sure you give a thumbs up so we know that we can do more in the future. And also, if we don't answer your question and you have another question, make sure you leave it in the comment section below.
If you don't like it, you can like it anyway. It's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings.
Okay, so the first question is, let's see, how do we juggle work, studies, and family?
That pretty much sums it up. I think that answers that question.
Okay, so juggling work, which we don't go to school right now. So eventually, hopefully, Ron wants to get his master's one day. So hopefully that will be part of it. But work and family, that in itself is probably a struggle. I mean, for anybody that, especially in the American life, because the busier you are, the more you get to brag, I guess, for a lot of people. And a lot of times we take for granted the small moments or the quality time with our family. So for us, like, the one thing that I really like is that usually first thing in the morning. We didn't this morning, but usually first thing in the morning we go on a morning walk, and we've started doing like a small devotional. Now, I'm not talking about like an hour-long devotional or even really 30 minutes. It's like maybe 10 minutes at the max, just enough to start our day on a positive note, spend a little quality time together, and in God's Word too. And I urge you, if you want to start off on a positive note with your day, then getting in God's Word is definitely something that I feel better about when I do. So,
well, I'm blessed to be in the position that I am. I do have some flexibility with where I work, but on the same hand, I could just as well, if things weren't going right at home, or if man's ambition a lot of times kills their family life. So for me, I know that it's a priority. I know that this relationship, there's a reason that I found her so irresistible to begin with. And God put that there for a purpose and plan, and for me to, I guess, to not honor that or not fulfill that commitment, I think is counter to my whole real purpose here. If I don't lead my family in a way that is pleasing to the one that made me, then a lot of other things in my life will start to unravel with that. So it's really just about prioritizing things. I mean, what's important to you, and it doesn't mean that I don't, I guess, maybe cut them short sometimes. I'm not perfect. I mean, I think that sometimes other commitments and priorities. I think one thing that's really helped us is our schedule, communicating that schedule in our phone, like just knowing what each other has going on every day and getting reminders of those things.
That, and then we usually talk about what we're doing that day too.
Yeah.
And then at night we have a recap of what happened that day. I really enjoyed that, just especially with being a stay-at-home mom. Sometimes the only adult interaction you have is with your spouse. So it's, to me, I'm like, okay, I need something from the outside world.
She's using the term adult very loosely there, but yeah, with me sometimes.
So I think, like, as far as like keeping the communication going with us is, talking first thing in the morning, talking about what we're planning on doing for the day. Our schedules are, we have the same calendar, so when he enters something into his calendar, it shows up on my phone, so I know what's going on, and same vice versa with him. And then at the end of the day, we always ask each other, how was your day? What did you do? So
you can learn a lot about somebody when you turn the TV off.
Yeah, we don't have a TV. I forgot about that.
That's a big thing too. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't really have a whole lot else to do other than to spend time with each other. So it really, and it's not that I didn't want to spend time with her, but we turned the TV on, and for those of you who know me, Seinfeld was on 90% of the time, and no matter how many times I see an episode, I still tune in and I would focus on it. And I think
the only way we talked was in Seinfeld.
still that way. You just don't know as many, but most of the time, 90% of our conversation is me dropping a Seinfeld line. But yeah, I mean, with the television there, it's a huge distraction. You don't even think about it. You think you're tuned into somebody's conversation, but you're not. You're not able to respond well when there's another distraction in the room. It's just not in our brains to do that. We're not capable.
Yeah. So I think that answers the question. Yeah.
Roughly.
Okay. So, let's see. Should the wife put the husband before the children? It's like a loaded question.
Man.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, for us, I mean, I think it determines on what the needs of the child is. I mean, if she's screaming because she has a dirty diaper or something, like, and he wants his plate fixed, like, that's just kind of, I think you have to be smart about it, or unselfish. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Realistic, yeah.
I don't know.
But also, I mean, good marriages produce good children, so I think that if we are okay, then she's going to be completely taken care of. Do you agree?
I'm not sure whether the person was asking what they were getting at with the question. But I mean, I think what maybe happens, and it's very easy to see that this can happen and will happen, is that you have 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids. Suddenly, there's less and less emphasis on the relationship that started all this, and so often you'll hear folks who have had this family, and that in their whole lives, the husband and the wife are devoting to the children and not to the relationship. And then when the tie that bound them together for all those years is no longer there, and they're empty nesters, they decide, what about that whole thing about good kids and good relationships, good marriages produce good kids?
Yeah, we have a great marriage and a great kid.
Sometimes. But
I think I need to go lay her down for a nap.
Okay. Nap time for the little one. So when you look at how marriages, they put the kids first all the time, that means that in priority something has to fall behind it, and sadly that tends to be the relationship that again started the kids in their marriage, or in their the situation that was raising the kids. And so when that happens, then you know, you're left with something that is, you put yourselves back a lot of years, and then you got to wonder, is, you know, do we still have something? So, you know, it's important that you, I don't want to say the kids are second in terms of just immediate need. You know, if there's an immediate urgent need, obviously you tend to it, and you know, you hope that as a man you can be big enough to say, oh, it's not something, she doesn't not love me, or she doesn't love me less because my kid just fell over and she's got to tend to it, or there's a messy diaper. It's more about, you know, do we ever have a chance to step away from those situations, to let our child go spend an afternoon with grandma so that we can spend some time alone, so that we can work on us, so that we don't, you know, grow up and grow apart. I think so often people grow, we're always growing, we're either growing or dying, and as you grow, if you're not purposefully growing together, you're going to purposefully, by accident, but purposefully grow apart.
Yeah, I think if you're not working on your marriage, then, I mean, you should, I think even if you've been married for 50 years, it's great to keep working on your marriage, because you're going to learn more stuff. It's fun. I mean, I enjoy being with him. That's why I married him. I mean, and I think that a lot of people lose the fun part of marriage. I mean, they quit dating. And dating doesn't mean you have to go out and do like an expensive dinner or anything like that, but when you're dating somebody, you're asking questions about them. You're more interested in them than you are about, you know, what you're getting. So I think that a lot of couples forget that, and they just assume that their spouse knows everything about them. And I mean, I know you know a lot about me, but you don't know everything about me.
Not even close.
So, I mean, I think that's a thing that we have to keep learning about each other. Goals change, dreams change, and I mean, it makes life more exciting when you're going together and still learning about each other and having fun moments together than just letting life kind of lead you on. I think I kind of got off on a different subject.
It's all right. I guess I'll bring it maybe back a little bit. But one thing that, if you've watched this vlog at all, you'll know that we're Christians, and we believe that you know, God is our creator, and He's, you know, put us here for a purpose. And one thing that's really key, and I'm not trying to impose Christianity on somebody that's watching this that may not be a Christian at this point, or you know, identify with that religion, but you've got to have something that's bigger than both of you that ties you together. So for us, God is that due north for us, that at the end of anything that happens, the ultimate, you know, sort of decision maker in our household and the blueprint for how we want to live, we find it there. And I just hope that, you know, you at home, as you watch, if you you know, don't have that, you find it, you find something, and that doesn't, I'm not trying to push a religion on anybody, but you know, you need to have something that is you know, more about purpose and can pull you guys together versus you know, you kind of having your own separate thing and your own agenda, and you know, we'll argue this out, and you know, whoever has a better argument wins. And that is just, it's going to be hard to operate that way when there's not an ultimate authority in your household.
Yeah. So in conclusion, do we think that the wife should put her husband before the children? It depends on the circumstance, I think. And I also think that with children, like, they need to learn some independence and some responsibility. And if you take care of them 100% all the time, they're never going to learn that. And then your spouse is going to feel neglected, whether it's the mom or the dad. So with us, I mean, of course, Selah is only almost 8 months old, so there's certain things that she still depends on me for, and I still have to do that because she's not old enough for that. So, and that is, sometimes it takes away time from us. But we always, like, for us to be able to spend time together and learn more about each other, I've had to get Selah on a schedule and kind of be strict about that and allow her to learn how to fall asleep on her own, so that during nap times or when she goes to bed earlier than us, we have that alone time that we can continue to learn about each other and grow and talk about our days and have a date night or whatever it might be. So I think that's how we see it and how we do it. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just answer one more question.
Okay.
Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry. Just kidding.
You just ate.
I remember Heather's question on this one. How you feeding
your
it?
food.
You don't.
Okay, so this one is how do you handle your finances? Okay, so that one was something that we did not really talk about much at first.
Yeah.
We just kind of did it. I had a job, he had a job. We did have one bank account, but we didn't really know I had no idea what was going in, what was coming out. I would give my money to him, he would put it in the bank, and then I would just spend whatever, just thinking, hey, we've got tons of money. And that was not the case. So recently, we have downloaded an app, Every Dollar Budget by Dave Ramsey and his team, and we keep the same sign-in thing so that we both know when somebody enters in something how much money we have left in our budget. And although we haven't followed it to a T, and we've done this 2-3 months now.
Yeah, well,
we've done it.
We have done it
we
before.
I didn't do it very well. I'm not the best at sticking to a budget, I guess. I'm very frugal when it comes to spending money or how much I spend on a certain item. But with that, I also feel like, well, hey, I got this for this amount of money, so I should be able to buy this too. Because that didn't cost that much. So, but putting us on a budget, and it was something that was really needed when I became a stay-at-home mom, because I needed to know how much that I could spend without putting us over budget. So we do share our bank account. I know some couples don't like to do that, and I think the only time I would ever recommend not sharing a bank account, because as in a marriage you're supposed to be one, is if one or the other has really bad spending habits, I guess, like an addiction of some sort, and then I would treat that with the same way I would treat a drug addiction or something like that, getting help for that and stopping access to that. But for a normal couple that doesn't struggle with the addiction of spending or gambling or something like that, then I definitely feel like that you should share, because you came into a marriage together, and it's not a his and hers type thing, because when you start thinking about that, then you're again going in separate directions with your goals, and we want to go in the same direction with our goals. So, and that's another way for us to talk about what we want for our future and to prioritize different things. So
I would just think that inside of every one of us, there's that little kid that just wants stuff, and so if you don't have a plan, that little kid will probably win. He'll probably get what he wants in the store or what he wants off the internet and shopping, and so if you've got a plan and you know there's a level of accountability, I don't think that when you set up a budget with your spouse that this means that you're shackled and chained. There's going to be one of you, and most likely in the relationship, that will think in terms of numbers and will think in terms of structure, and there'll be another one of you that kind of wants to just freewheel it and run with it, and neither one of you is necessarily wrong, but both of you have to meet somewhere in the middle with some of the needs and desires. Even having, $100, $200 of your own to spend a month is probably a really good idea, so you don't go crazy. But on the same hand, know that once you've reached that is whatever that amount may be. Maybe it's $50, but whatever that amount may be, know that that's it. Once you've reached that limit, that's your expense, and know that it's coming next month too, though. So just getting on the same page with that. I mean, what's the main reason that people are going to get a divorce? A lot of the time, it's got something to do with money. I don't like the way she spends this money. I want to spend more money on this, or
debt.
Debt, yeah, and it gets very difficult to get out of that. So, I think we should just call Dave. Let's get Dave on the phone, let him finish this conversation, because he knows way more than either of us.
Him.
But would you? Yes. Maybe he can give me some leadership training. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Just for a promo.
I think that with us having a budget too, it kind of takes the weight off of our shoulders a little bit, because we know we have this amount of money and this is where it's all going, and this is your free money. And I love having that free money, because I don't feel guilty if I'm at the store and something's on sale, and it's maybe not something that I have to have or need, but it's just something I want. But we have that small amount set aside that I can get it and not feel guilty about it, and know that our groceries are still going to get paid. We're not going to be going into debt if I buy this item, or he's not going to be upset with me for buying it, because we've already sat down, we've agreed on our budget, and then this amount of money is okay for me to spend however I want to. So, you feel the same way?
No, not even close. No, I do. Yeah, I do.
So, but I think, for us, also, with our finances, because we are pretty much a one-income family right now, I'm bringing in a little bit from my lemongrass business, and hopefully I'll be bringing in more as I continue to grow in that business. But, things are a little bit tight around our house, so we've made some decisions to cut back on a few things. I changed phone services just to save, $25. But then we were able to get rid of Wi-Fi, and then we went down to one car, so we don't have a car payment, and we don't have TV, so we don't have a cable payment. Brian takes the trash off, so we don't have a trash pickup payment.
But that may be more because I'm cheap. It's only $9 a month. But,
so, there's certain things that we have sacrificed to live comfortably, but I think that one day, like Dave says, we're going to live like nobody else, so later we can live like nobody else. And give like nobody else, is what he says.
Yeah, the one thing that I just look at as we have, cut some of these things, it's almost more of a value kind of thing now, where, yeah, on the one hand, I don't want to spend the money on the monthly continuum, first off. But then secondly, what was a TV getting me besides another bill? What was it? What, even the phone to a degree? What other than the bill? What are you getting from that? What is it actually doing for you in terms of your personal development and your growth as an individual and your growth as a couple? I'm not saying that you don't have your shows or things that you might like to watch together, or Wi-Fi, may help you in that way or whatever. We can talk about EMFs, but we won't go there today. But these things that are in our lives, you really need to evaluate how important they are to you, and if they're just an expense that kind of detracts from what's really important to you, then why are you doing it? Constantly, we talked about that today when I was talking with Megan on the drive home. Just you kind of speak things into existence, and your choices, your decisions, to what you think about all the time is going to be reflected in your life in some way. So I think we've looked at things through a much sharper lens in recent, just to not only clean up the budget, but to clean up our lives as best as we can, just to get the most out of each moment that we have.
Yeah, I think it's not only giving us financial freedom, but it's giving us freedom in other areas of our life to be able to have have more time together, more quality time, not just there in the presence of each other, but like really connecting with each other. But so this video is getting kind of long, so we'll end it right here. If you like this type of video and you want us to do it again sometime, give us a thumbs up on there. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel down below. Click the little red icon. And if you have any questions that maybe we could help you out with or answer, or maybe you have some things that has helped you with your marriage, leave it in the comment section below, and I'll definitely make sure that I read those and comment back. So I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. Does this mean good luck, Brian? I think it went off the camera anyways. Got a butterfly on my finger. Fly away.